Welcome to the Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas, with another segment of Making Sense with Gabriel, with Gabriel Gaarden. Stick around. We'll be right back. Hi, Gabriel. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you, Nancy?
I'm doing good.
Cool. Good to hear.
And I got some questions for you. And this one is, do you think someone who's a confirmed meat eater, well, actually, it's kind of rhetorical because I used to be a meat eater, but let's hear it from you. Someone who was a meat lover can learn to live on a vegetable, plant-based, whole food, vegan diet. Do you think it's possible? Now, we know it is, but let's get some comments from you.
Yeah, I'm happy to share some comments. I ate meat for 26 years, so my now 35-year life. So the vast majority, and I always had an open mind though, just as a result, I think of my experience, a lot of white privilege and really great supportive parents. And so I just was kind of in a space emotionally for many years where I wasn't in that kind of maybe closed or fixed mindset that like I had to eat meat for the rest of my life, or that I couldn't live without meat, or that life would be not worth living, if I didn't have meat in it. And you hear comments like that. Some people say, hey, I agree with you that veganism's great, or that a plant-based diet's wonderful, or that it's would be a great thing for me to do personally for my health, and then of course for the benefit of the environment and animals and everything else. But then they'll just give up or retire at the fact that they say, but I just couldn't imagine living without meat. I think that I should have pleasure in my life and dietary pleasure. And like, I get a lot of pleasure out of eating meat. And so I just can't imagine living without it. And so for those people, they're kind of still, in terms of the stages of change, they're still really, there's a pre-contemplative state before you start to contemplate actually being able to make a big change, like, changing your diet, giving up meat, giving up animal products. So for those people, they may not be in a place where they're open enough right now in this moment to think about making changes, or at least a big change. But number one, I'd encourage people, hey, just start small. Many of us, when it comes to big lifestyle changes, are not able to just make a wholesale turnaround 180 degrees and completely reverse everything that we've been used to doing, right? So we just start small. Don't think about the things that you're going to exclude, like meat from your diet. Think about things that you're going to incorporate, right? So it reframes everything from a negative to a positive, right? From exclusion to inclusion. So I think that's number one, that even if people think it's impossible, I could never live without meat, hey, let's just start incorporating some more plants into our diet because we know that they're good for our health. And then once we start doing that, things just start to build on themselves. When you start to feel better because you're eating more healthy plant foods, more fruits, more vegetables, more beans, more whole grains, more mushrooms, nuts, seeds, herbs, and spices. When we're incorporating these wonderful, nutrient-dense, fiber-rich, they're also very high. Many of these foods are very high in water. And most of us suffer from chronic dehydration because we're not drinking enough water and we're not eating enough healthy whole plant foods, which again, some vegetables are even more than 90% water, even as high as like 95%, 97, 98% water by weight. And so we eat these vegetables, they provide all these colors, all these beneficial phytonutrients, right, which are plant-based chemicals that help to promote good health. But we're also better hydrating our body. And when our body's hydrated, when our brain is hydrated, we can think better, we can function better. So when you start incorporating more of those healthy plant foods into your diet, that's going to create this positive cycle that's going to lead to, over time, wanting to eat more and more of them. Oh, I'm going to start incorporating a salad, on a more regular basis, or I'm going to start eating a salad every day for lunch. And then I can throw different types of nuts and seeds, different types of vegetables, a different type of beans, or a different type of plant-based meat on there. And that's plant-based meat is another big one that we're going to get to when it comes to, oh, I can't live without meat. Hey, there's a vegan option for everything that you can think of under the moon and under the sun these days. that's going to give you, a great burger, that's going to give you a great chicken, that's going to give you a great sausage. They taste wonderful. They have very, very similar texture and taste to the conventional forms of meat that we get from raising and slaughtering animals, but it doesn't require any of that pain and suffering. It doesn't require the vast, incredible amounts of environmental damage and degradation that come from animal agriculture, but we still get all the benefit and the pleasure of the taste. But again, back to eating more plants. Once you start on this journey, this positive health journey, you're going to start feeling better over time. And then you're going to want to do more and more of it. It's that positive reinforcement. I want to eat more plants because they give me more energy to do the things that I love. I don't feel lethargic after I eat. I don't feel lethargic all day. I'm not suffering from brain fog and just feeling crummy, during certain parts of the day, or for a lot of people in our society, they feel crummy kind of all the time. That's just their basic baseline. And if you can start making some of these basic changes, small changes at first, and then start gradually building on those changes over time and doing more, you're going to feel better and better, and you're never going to want to look back. And
And
then again, go ahead.
I was going to say, and the other thing that people got to remember is that when you're trying these plant-based meats, which are a great way to transition to whole food plant-based eating, is that, when I ate flesh before, right? And my aunt cooked it, or my cousin cooked it, or I went to the store, to a restaurant, all of those animal flesh tasted different. And I might not have liked one particular way, style somebody made it, but another one. So the reason why I brought that up is that, so when you're trying these products, you might come to one and you go, oh, I don't like that. But don't give up. There's other products that you might like better, because we all have different tastes.
And there's so many options now, the plant-based meat alternative market is growing faster than many, if not, many other aspects and sectors of the food industry, right? And so, and many of the big meat producers, Tyson and Cargill, these are huge multinational corporations, billions of dollars, right? They're seeing the growth in the plant-based, meat sector, and they're jumping in and they're investing millions of dollars. It's still an overall pretty modest percent of their overall budget, and their overall, revenue and everything. But that being said, they're still putting significant amounts of money into the plant-based meat sector, because they know it's a great opportunity for them to make money. It's growing incredibly fast. And so, yes, there's so many options. If you try Beyond Burger and you don't like it, even though they're great, there's Impossible Meat, there's tons of other options. And again, that comes down to all the different types of meat, whether it's a beef replacement, whether it's a replacement for chicken, or a replacement for like a hot dog or a sausage. There's so many different options. And again, there's so much money in this space. There's so much excitement in this space. It's creating all of this innovation. And so not only do we have plant-based alternatives for these things, we also have alternatives where they're using cultured products, meaning they take, a few cells of something, and then they're able to grow it in a lab by just feeding it, by feeding bacteria, different media, different nutrients. And then they're able to grow this stuff in labs too. And so that's the cultured meat sector. So we've got plant-based meats that are just made from plants that are processed in a certain way so that you can create a burger or a ground meat or a sausage or whatever it might be. And then we also have the cultured meat space, which again doesn't require, animal inputs, and doesn't require us to raise and slaughter and do all these things to animals, which is horrible for animals and horrible for the environment. And those products are going to be basically one-to-one replications of dairy and meat. And so there's so many options in this space. And so I would encourage people, approach this with an open mind. And again, if you try one, you try one plant-based milk, or you try one plant-based meat and it's not great, well, number one, for many foods, for all of us, when we start eating them when we're little infants and toddlers, and then growing up into children and adults, it takes more than one exposure. For some things you're going to try and you love them right away, right? But other things, it takes more than one exposure to develop a palate and a flavor and a taste and for those foods. And so give it more than one try. But again, if you don't like that one, hey, try another one. There's tons of options on the market.
And that's what I say when people say, oh, I tried this cheese and I didn't like it. It didn't taste good to me. And from my own experience, when I first started on this journey of veganism, it was the same way, because I was a big cheese and milk person. And I would keep trying the milks because I was trying to find something that would satisfy me. Again, with the cheese. And I have found those. For me, I still like soy and Ripple pea protein milk, kind of the best. And also, when it comes to cheeses, Chow, BioLife, they're pretty much on top for me. And I love them. So, and your taste change. And like you said, when you might have been small, you may not have liked Brussels sprouts, but now you do. Things change, and your palate changes as well as you start on this journey when you're eating the plants and things like that, because then your mouth, the senses in your mouth start developing different, I guess, sensations that they like, kind of a thing. So I say,
Yeah,
go.
it's a process of evolution. And so I just figure, hey, we've got this life, we're here on earth for a certain amount of time. And it's like, don't be locked into just doing things one way your whole life. It's like continue to continue to learn, continue to explore. And then also it's like, hey, you've got all these foods that you loved or you think you love or whatever, but there's all these other foods, which means there's all these other opportunities to expand your palate, to expand your horizons, and really to get even more pleasure out of your food from your standard American Western meat-based diet, right? When you're incorporating all these new foods, you actually have the opportunity to increase the amount of pleasure that you're experiencing from food. And then on top of that, you know that you're doing something good for your health, for the health of the world and the environment, and you're not hurting all these animals in the process. So again, another beautiful win-win situation.
And this is for the future generations, right? Because if you don't care now about your health or whatever, well, think about the environment, like you said, the animals, future generations, your grandkids, your great grandkids. I mean, that is all part of it as well. All these people that are being displaced, the climate change, this is all due to the way we consume the earth, whether it be by the things that we buy or by what we eat, especially all these things that come from animal agriculture. So if you want to help, $5 to donate to a food bank is really minimal as opposed to changing the way you eat.
Very well said.
Well, thank you again, Gabriel, for another segment of Making Sense with Gabriel. Till next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on another Vegan Pulse. I am your host, Nancy Arenas. Remember, check out our website, like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have a pulse, you have a purpose. Live vegan.